Good night, Mr. Wade. We're
Good
live,
night,
sir.
sir.
And good night, Belizeans at home and abroad. This is the Belizean Affairs Show number 392. 392. We're just eight shows short. We're just eight shows short of 400. Yeah!
100.
We're getting there. We're getting there, Mr. Wade.
400 shows, man.
Major
Yes.
milestone. But anyhow,
Wow.
Belizeans at home and abroad, thank you for your time, spared, and your attention and attentiveness, as a matter of fact, because these 1 hour and a half show, especially the kind of material that we deal with, I know sometimes we bore, or sometimes you get too stressful for or whatever, because we deal with some heavy stuff, and the way we deal with it, I know, like the regular dealers, we come with some heavy hand, so we deal heavy.
Yes, sir.
We win big and we lose big.
Yes, sir.
But so far, 98% winning, so that's not a bad trajectory.
Exactly.
And we just want to say thank you again for those of you who are going to be listening to us live tonight at your and for those who are going to be listening to us at your own convenience sometime later on tonight again on or maybe tomorrow or some other day. We do appreciate your time and attention spared because your time is valuable. You could be doing something more. Well, I'll soon use the word more valuable because from our vantage point, we consider these matters to be very, very important and valuable. And only you, the people, can save the people.
Amen.
So we
True on that.
we do our little effort to try and contribute our little part of the information and hope that you'll be able to make use of that information, getting a positive public benefit from it to make a difference in terms of how our country of Belize is governed. Recently, we've been experiencing some serious state matters that requires statesmanship, and unfortunately, we don't have those involved in our governance affairs, and therefore it falls on our private shoulders as individuals to try and make up a little bit of the difference that is required to bring these people to account or to embarrass them or hold them to account. Nevertheless, as I said, this is the 392nd show,
92.
and our chairman for tonight is not available yet. So, under those circumstances, we normally um, take the show and run with it and do the best we can. We'll do the preliminaries as we normally do, and hopefully by then, I presume he might be somewhere in the background lining up something to offer to us tonight in his show.
Yes, sir.
But in the interest of time, I'm going to go ahead and do the prayer, and then I'll yield to Mr. Wade for him to do a reading. And if the chairman is not available then yet, then maybe he can give us a public service notice or something else that might be on his mind temporarily. I'll bow my head and do the prayer. Divine loving Father, once again we come before thy presence, asking that thou would continue to guide and protect and bless us. We pray that thou mayest continue to bless our country of Belize, its people and leadership, that thou would bless this country of the United States, its people and leadership as well, and that thou would bless the rest of humanity, especially those people who are in war zones and those who are in earthquake areas or volcano areas or storms, those people who are in the winter storms in the Midwest and the East. We pray that thou would be merciful unto them, that at least people protect themselves and stay out of the inclement weather. And we pray that we don't have too many accidents and people getting hurt unnecessarily as well. We pray that thou must bless those individuals who are in war zones, again, like I said, and that thou would provide for them, those who have need of food and clothes and shelter, that thou would grant them relief. We ask thee, loving Father, that thou would accept our humble expression of gratitude to you for having given us the privilege of life, and secondly, the opportunity to be alive today among our family members, friends, and loved ones in fairly good health. Don't waste our hearts, our desires, even our most secret thoughts. Please let the words of our mouth and the meditation of our mind and the contriteness of our heart be acceptable before thee now and always. For we ask these mercies in Jesus' name. Amen. Are you,
Man.
Mr. Wade?
Thank you. Thank you, Leonard. Thank you
You're
for
welcome,
that.
sir.
We're impressed, sir. I'll continue on Proverbs chapter 28. I left off at the 10, so I continue at 11 to 20. And it reads, a rich man is wise in his own eyes, but a poor man who has understanding will find him out. When the righteous triumph, there is great glory, but when
Amen.
the wicked rise, people hide themselves. Whoever conceals his transgressions will not prosper, but he who confess and forsake them will obtain mercy. Blessed is the one who fears the Lord always,
Amen.
but whoever hardens his heart will fall into calamity. Like a roaring lion and a charging bear is like a wicked ruler over a poor people. A ruler who lacks understanding is a cruel oppressor, but he who hates unjust gain will prolong his days. If one is burdened with the blood of another, he will be a fugitive until death.
Mm-hmm.
Let no one help him. Whoever walks in integrity will be delivered, but he who is crooked in his ways will suddenly fall. Whoever works his hands will have plenty of bread, but he who follows worthless pursuit will have plenty of poverty. A faithful man will abound with blessings, but whoever hastens to be rich will not go unpunished. To show partiality is not good, but for a piece of bread a man will do wrong.
Mm-hmm.
A stingy man hastens after wealth and does not know that poverty will come upon him. Whoever rebukes a man will afterwards find more forever than he who flatters his tongue. Whoever robs his father or his mother and says, there is no transgression, is a companion to a man who destroys. That's my reading and from Proverbs chapter 28. And I continue from where I left off, um, 11 to 20. Uh, there's a lot going on, and like to say, we will you know wait for our chairman for tonight, but
So,
the show must goes on. He probably in the back there queuing up,
yes,
and
sir.
we ended our Friday show, Leonard, with the BTL saga, and you know the unions, and the Budna situation, and these are things that are plaguing the nation as we speak. Um, we see the redistricting actually had put on hold. Um, they speaks with two tongue. Yes, they'll do it, and just to let the people hear what they want to hear. We have a pending ICJ decision, Leonard. It's still in the oven burning. And Leonard, not too long ago, we had a meeting of the OAS, Leonard, with the foreign ministers and the OAS representatives.
Mm-hmm.
And publicly, we hear. no apology from the Guatemalans for their atrocities in the Search Stone. He didn't apologize. Not what I took from his words is that these things happen and they are trying to build a better relationship and they are working on it, but no apology. And of course, you have a Belize foreign minister that past and present, they all have
Koto,
no guts. Yeah, they just tag along and oh yeah, it's okay, and we move on until the next time, Leonard,
mm-hmm.
and the next time, and the next time. While we have the Belizean people frustrated and afraid because what next? So, Leonard, there's a lot going on. The crime and violence, drugs, cartels, mafias in this country called Belize. It's so sad to see how where we at 2025. And Leonard, imagine a Belize that we had once, know our Belize for not being so, so in this bad of a state. We know a Belize that let's put it this way: we could all sleep with our windows open and our doors partly closed. But now it's so sad.
Good night,
I'll
gentlemen.
pass the show over to the chairman, Mr. Gregory Brackett. Good night, sir. We just did the preliminary, myself and Leonard, and we knew that you were in the background, so pass the show over to you, sir.
Good night, Mr.
Thank you.
Chairman.
Good night, Mr. Brackett. Thank you, Mr. Weird. It's always a pleasure sitting with you guys.
Same here.
I want to say good night to you, the people at home and abroad. And I want to thank you for tuning in. Those of you who watch our live, and those of you who look at our show when we are off there. Gentlemen and people at home and abroad, I want to have an open conversation on the detailed saga. With that said, I go to the first bit.
Right into it. We understand that the saga of the BTL current state of play continues. Talk to us a little bit about it, Jules. What's going on?
Yeah, I was just reviewing stuff. The executive management of BTL continues to move inexorably towards taking a vote on this deal to acquire SpeedNet Smart. They are going to a full board meeting tomorrow, and at that board meeting, my information is that they want to get provisional approval. There is an impatience and an unseemly haste to get something done. It makes me wonder what is driving it. Has a commitment been made to the parties involved that it has to be fulfilled? And let us be clear that the parties involved are the Ashcroft Alliance and the Britannia family. But they continue to move with such unseemly haste towards some resolution or something that can say we're halfway there or we're past the halfway point. Even as the Belize Chamber of Commerce and Industry is saying that, that we want constructive engagement, we want rigorous analysis, a process characterized by openness, in one ear, out the other, because this has to happen. And it has to happen because of the involvement of the Prime Minister's family. It pains me to go into these things, but the Prime Minister or his functionaries in his office, I'm talking about the CAPSEC or even perhaps the CEO, continue to be actively involved in applying pressure and seeing this through. No, this has put the Social Security Board directors under extraordinary pressure. It has put them under extraordinary pressure to vote in favor of this. So they're going to the meeting tomorrow, to the full board meeting. And I understand there was some non-disclosure agreement that the BTL executive management wanted Social Security directors to sign.
Right.
So there we go, gentlemen. They're having a board meeting tomorrow where they wanted to have a vote to get a provisional acceptance. But I want to say this just before I came on the air. I understand they have postponed it. Now that postponement to me, my belief is that because they know protest is coming, we don't know how much people would have been there, but we know there is a lot of unions and other institutions that is against this opposition. I want to say this to you, the people at home and abroad. The time is right at this moment as I speak, or as we here in Belizean affair will speak tonight, for you, the people at home and abroad, to respond and to hold your government accountable. We have been pushing here in Belizean affairs as an elector, I personally, to hold past and present government accountable. It's not about being blue or being great. It's about when you get elected, what you have done for my country lately. And I open this show tonight to go down memory lane to a great trailblazer, and I say to you, let's not call for what is happening, but let's keep what he has fought for, which is competition and non-monopoly alive.
It is an indication that government, they get the sense and they better listen to the people. We give them some very realistic and achievable recommendations. We insist there must be reform. We got to clean up the system. We got to clean those out who are part of the abuse, and we got to respect the rights of our Belizean people. Increased taxes can only bring hardship on our people. So we will review it, and we are prepared to enter dialogue with government.
Mr. Wade, I go to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, we left our show off on Monday. On Friday.
Well,
Yeah, on this note, discussions, the same issue. We state where we stand, and you pointed out our dissatisfaction. We pointed out plainly, clearly, the monopoly, but yet, you have some individuals within the Briseño faction there who is hell bent and getting this thing assented to and done, and who is to get paid, and they all pat and kiss each other while they left the Belizean people moaning and groaning, right? So, Mr. Chairman, I say this to say that, these kleptocrats, right? These crooks, these people who have no love for the people and the nation, but only a lover of money and power and themselves. They thought that they had a done deal, a smooth sailing, because you watch all the different players and how Briseño had them set up. Right? And Mr. Chairman, you mentioned our social security money and our social security employees, not Briseño employees or Ashcroft employees. The taxpayers of this nation is paying these people. What you see, one of them, a lady, had shiver ties, and she said, I don't want to be a part of this because it's too obvious, man, from Social Security. So she stepped aside, and he went and he fingered another one, and that one that he fingered will go to that meeting, right? And she has her marching papers that they gave her to read out loud and clear on that board meeting that they supposed to have for that vote. But you said that it was your understanding, and I understand the same thing you understand, that they put that on hold because why? The pressure, Mr. Chairman and Leonard, the pressure is that they don't trust this pressure. They sit down in our little room now and then they wear this thing out, their teeth are grinding. It's like the devil sits in the corner there and having some major problem, and he don't, he's burning up. So they are burning up in a corner because they see money. All of us, they have seen money already in their hands. Right? The Briseño family and Ashcroft, they saw money in their hands. But now, they got to climb some ladders now, all of a sudden, to get this money. So, and I watched the event played out. A lady that I know very well, Sam Waite's daughter. We all know who Sam Waite is. We all know where she is aligned. We all know that. Well, I wouldn't say we all know. Right? I'm an ex-PUP. I know fame for shade, faith. And I know all of them. Right? And I know I'm not afraid to call them out and say what I know about them. I'm not afraid. Because I speak truth to what I know. So what can they do to me? But no, they don't trust this lady now because she went out and say some harsh words, and she's aligned with, well, man, she's a union leader, man. Right? She not the leader for Briseño, or they didn't put her there to kiss up on Briseño. No, the union put her there because they think she can do a job. Right? So let's see how that will play out, Mr. Chairman. What I'm saying is that, things are getting sticky. And we here have been down this road before with unions. And I said union leaders. And I point out, and I, Roody Wade, had pointed out when I say a true union leader. And that's, may he rest in peace, that's Mr. Fraser. So far, I have none. And I said publicly These union leaders, Mr. Chairman, they are all compromised. All of them. Oh, hear them talk a whole bunch of crap.
I would say they're, Mr. Wade, I would say they are compromisable. I'll just change up the word a little bit, make it more effective.
That's right.
Compromisable.
Right? Exactly. Right? So, I have no respect for none of them, me personally. Only me. Say what you want to say about me, Mr. Union Leader. I have no respect for none of you. Right? But sadly that the unions have took this country down this road before. And all a mouthful of hot air. Right? So if they had stand their ground from way back, we wouldn't have been in this position. And be a true union leader. True unionist. True to the core to what you stand for and what you should do for the nation as a union leader. Right? But my thing is that you all compromise people. You compromise the nation. Right? We need to stop that. If you're going to stand up on an industrial strike and say you're going to do it, do it. Bring this government down to their knees. Bring the senior administration down to his knees. Because you all have the power. All you unions have the power to do it. Why are you all behaving this way? What I'm saying is that, you know, the Belizean and the Ashcroft devils, they're having some second thought right now, Mr. Chairman. Say no more. Back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Weir. Mr. Brackett.
Thank you, Mr. Wade. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the privilege to participate on this particular program with you and Mr. Wade. I have quite a bit that I would like to say, but I think I need to measure what I'm about to say, and so as to cut it short, and maybe get another chance later on to continue some more. But right up front, out the gate, I want to say this. It seemed to me like our Prime Minister, who pretends that he wants to act like a head of state, I need to measure my words. You know, I can't say what's going through my head. You know, I'm fighting myself. I have an internal battle going on. But let me try again. This man knows exactly what he's trying to have done, and come hell or high water, he won't get it done because nobody can stop him from doing what he wants to have done. Bottom line. But he appoints all these directors to all these statutory boards. And most of them are appointed there because of their trustworthiness in him. In other words, they are there, they serve at his pleasure, and they serve for his pleasure. They're not serving at his pleasure for the Belizean people who actually elected him and who give these positions or make these positions available for them to go and sit on these boards. It's our money sponsoring these boards. It's our money sponsoring these companies. But they're all beholden to have him get paid out, or him and his family get upfront payout from our assets, our resources. And that is a criminal act. Because the Constitution, as well as the regular criminal rules and regulations, forbid them to do that. That's a crime. And they know that. But who's going to take them to jail? Who's going to prosecute them? Or who's going to convict them? Who's going to lock them up? Because as far as I'm concerned, us talking about this issue as much as we have and continue to talk about it, at the end of the day, unless somebody grab their ass and put them in jail or flag them or do something with them personally, they have no intentions to make any changes. Whatever has to happen will happen in order for them to get that money out of our coffers. There's none of us, neither me, nor you, Mr. Chairman, nor Mr. Wade, nor anybody else can stop these guys from thieving our money. Because that's what it amounts to. It's stealing. They're trying to sell us assets that are compromised, assets that are not valid or viable anymore. And instead they put their assets on the market, the regular public market, and try to sell it to whoever wants to buy it at whatever price they can afford to get from them. They're trying to demand that they can cash in on our dime. And it seems to me like, they're getting so much support from the other side in terms of the people that really makes a difference, that is those directors. They can stop this stuff. But they won't, because they're compromised. Uncompromisable. They don't have no respect for the people. The people can't do them anything. The people can't take away the power from them right now unless we go to a referendum. And they won't allow a referendum for us to get the amount of votes that we need in order to have them demit office. So all they're going to do is frustrate us and go ahead and have their own way. And at some point, somebody's going to become personal with these individuals, because that's the only solution to the present problem. These guys are drunk on power, and they feel like there's no accountability to be had, and they're going to just do us the way they want. And to hell with it. There's nothing in there, because that's the trajectory, that's the history. They did it with our money with Mr. Ashcroft the other day with the port. Almost $400 million out of our hides. They did it in one instant. They like Mr. Wade always remind us, they give the man $78 million with the stroke of a pen. And then they came to the house and told us that they had settled all accounts with the man. And for the next 4 years after that, we have been paying the man 4 or 5 years at least $25 million a year, which means that the man is still getting his $25 million this year. He got his $25 million last year. He will get his another $25 million next year, in addition to all of what is it that they're trying to haul in. Wherever there's some money, they want to collect it. They want to grab a hold of it. And what they're doing to us is illegal, immoral, unethical, unprofessional, and unconstitutional. But who is going to hold them to account? Because holding them to account means grabbing them by the damn neck and squeeze their neck. Let them suffer some kind of personal outcomes. These are the kind of craziness that cause revolutions in the country. When the people get to a point where they can't get their leaders to lead on their behalf, and the leaders are taking chance of them, they rebel physically.
You your mic a little bit there, Mr. Chairman.
Are you back, Mr. Chairman?
Thank you. Gentlemen, I will say it differently.
Mobsters.
The time is right for the Belizean people to take back their country from the present government. But even though I believe it can happen at this time, it will not, because we have color lines. You can't take back a government when you have color lines. I will give you an example. Every time there is a general election and the color change, who had worked for the government that was elected at that time, they lose their job. And I'm saying this to say that the people who are working with government would not risk their job to come out and picket or to demonstrate to hold the government accountable on this opposition. That is why I'm saying we can't get by the color line. Back in my time, when it was a national interest. Blue, red will take to the streets, and the government would listen to the people of this country. I want to go to a theater and I will play a part of it because I want to show tonight to you, the people at home and abroad, how unlawful and unconstitutional they are trying to do this acquisition. I want you to listen exactly to what the Minister of Telecommunications said.
The PUC is preparing an SI, which will be sent to the Attorney General before it comes to Cabinet. And that is to ensure that things, for example, like there's a transitional period. During that period, rates will not be raised, bundles will not be changed, subscribers will not be allowed to be moved from one rate to another unless they specifically require it, and things like that.
Transitional period means something changes. What's the change that is anticipated?
Well, it is anticipated, as you may have heard in the media, that there's a proposal to consolidate the two the telephone companies. Yes.
Yes, but making an aside for
I stopped the tape right there, people at home and abroad, because the Minister of Telecommunication has not learned his lesson. I want to go back. I am saying it right here tonight. His intention, as per the Prime Minister, is to sign a SI to help with that transition. It is unconstitutional. He have tried this before and they had to scrap it. And I want to go back to the theater so you, the people at home and abroad, can see it. And I hope you guys will remember this aside.
They come with the points of their rights if they want to be vaccinated or not. Again, they have a right, and I think the government is very lenient with them, allowing them persons who wish not to be vaccinated to go and do their PCR testing every 2 weeks, because in that time they can still transmit the virus, but they are being exempted from that aspect of saying you have to get the vaccine. They give you an alternative. But I'm thinking my children cannot get the vaccine because they do not have the age for the vaccine. However, their teacher does. And so if their teacher gets the vaccine, I know that he or she would have a less chance of shedding the virus as in comparison to somebody who doesn't have the vaccine.
Right, because we hear them speaking of a mandatory vaccine, which when you look at SI 74, it does not say that the vaccine is mandatory in any way, shape, or form. Do you feel like this is being deceptive and lying to the public to try and get a buy-in for this agenda?
Yes, it surely is. But again, our people can read, most of them. So they can read and see it's not mandatory. You can take it. You should take it. If you don't want to take it, then just do the test. Simple.
I stopped the tape right there, people at home and abroad. This same Minister of Telecommunication was the Minister of Health Department during COVID-19. And he tried to take SI 74 and made it mandatory. He tried to mandate it when he knew it was unconstitutional. And you know what? It was a backlash and they had to step away from it. So I was saying, here we go again. He's trying to come with an unconstitutional SI to try to help with this acquisition. by BTL. Mr. Wade, I go to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, this guy, first of all, he he has his agenda. Um, he have to sing the same song that Briseño is singing. Um, and they will stick to their tune. Like I say, only a serious backlash can deter these people. Um, they will try all the plugs in the book. They will bring out everything, right, to get this done. Like Leonard said, they will stop at nothing. It's so sad to see how these people operate. I could see, if they will hold a press conference, and they will point out the good things for the people, and this acquisition is necessary because the people will profit, and show the people where they will profit. Show them. So it shouldn't be rocket science that it should happen. But the way they are doing it, Mr. Chairman, it's like secrecy, right? I'll let them tell people, oh yeah, well we need this acquisition, right? But they're not say, in detail tell the people why we actually need it, right? They point out that the Briseño guys say, oh yeah, if they don't do it, the BTL will lose money. The people will lose. All for sudden now, Mr. Chairman, BTL is a public entity. You hear the BTL chairman say BTL pretty much is not a public entity, right? And he answer only to the prime minister, right? But you see the length these people and all the all the different changes in their words, right? Just to do what? Just to bamboozle the people again. They did Fortress, right? With no much backlash, because the people they demand, and the unions, see how the unions they out there about Fortress. Hear them, right? And no ask the amount of nastiness that they did again to the Belizean people and the taxpayers to get that Fortress deal done, right? And it's done, right? So, I just hope and pray that, the unions and the people, come out and, send a clear message that this cannot happen, man. Cannot happen, right? Why they are so afraid, to, like I say, to come to the Belizean people and itemize where they will profit. This is how it will happen, and the Belizean people will profit, and rates no raise, and it's a good thing. Show them the good part, and anybody wants you to show them, show them real things. What they stand to profit on, right? I mean, anybody would say yes, man, because they will profit. The people will profit, but they cannot do that because it's no such deal like that. The Belizean people will not profit. Will not. Two entities will profit on that acquisition. It's the Briseños and Ashcroft, as always. First, it was Dean Barrow and the unelected senator, the unelected a big man, right? Attorney for the man. They were all the people that profit in the last administration. Dean Barrow, the attorney, and Ashcroft. This time here again in this administration is the Brisenius and Ashcroft. Nothing for the Belizean people, Mr. Chairman. And what are they using to gain their profits? What are they using? What is their collateral? The people's asset. Back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Weir. I want to say this. As far as poetry or Tiger Belize goes, the contract and that would have up within 10 years, and the government could have purchased it for a little bit of money. I don't think a lot of people know that, but if they go and check on it, in 10 years' time, it would have expired. I go to you, Mr. Brackett.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to ask your indulgence and the indulgence of the for our next colleague on the show, Mr. Wade, as well as the public at large, for me to, as part of my comment or commentary, read something here that I think is relevant to tonight's discussion as well. The following comments were made by Leonard Brackett regarding comments by Minister Michael Shevat on PUC facilitation of BTL's surged acquisition of Smart/SpeedNet, etc., which is basically a ripoff of public funds. And I went on to say further, lying lawyer and minister, Mr. Shabat, is speaking like an ignoramus bamboozler. Why? In trying to misinform the public as if he don't know the Belize Constitution or the hierarchy of laws or the process and procedures of law making. Because the PUC isn't authorized to make statutory instrument as he implied when he said in the tape the PUC is putting together an SI and he's going to take it to the cabinet on their behalf, and then they will be able to just go ahead and make some rules that will allow the people not to be chanced anymore. We don't want them to chance us right now. We don't have to wait till no SI get made, which is a bogus SI in the first place, because as I'm reading here, it will not be correct, it will not be constitutional, and an SI can't trump the Constitution. We need for them to step to the plate and act in good faith towards us. That's why we have them as our government. We don't want the Prime Minister to be suborning the people that he appoints to these statutory bodies, and they canvass them and demand that they comply with the idea of just casting a vote to let the BTL, which is our public company, buy out Mr. Brisenius family and the Ashcroft Alliance. Let them go public and sell to somebody who is interested. We are not interested. We are tired of being suckered. If their asset is so valuable and indeed, is worth some money, put it on the market.
It's not, Mr. Brackett.
Don't come to us under the guise that you as the government can suborn the government employees or appointees them to facilitate your family and the Ashcroft getting money out of us. That's not how government works or supposed to work. But that's how these guys are trying to make our government work. To use our governance powers to facilitate them chancing us. Let me finish with this stuff, Mr. Chairman. The PUC, which is the Public Utilities Commission, is not authorized to make statutory instruments, which is the minister's purview. That is an that is a subordinate to a legislative act. In other words, an SI has to be subordinate to a legislative act. It does not
Let
trump.
me, Mr. Brackett, just let me.
Can I finish it? Just a minute, sir. And the does not trump the SI does not trump the Constitution either. The PUC Act must be amended before an SI to facilitate empowering the PUC decisions or desired change as per Belize Constitution, Section 2, Subsection 1. I yield, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I want to say good night to you, Mr. Morrison.
Good night, Mr. Morrison.
Good night, Mr. Morrison.
Welcome to this 392nd edition of Belizean Affairs. Mr. Brackett, just for clarity, I want to say this. The Telecommunication Act gives the Minister of Telecommunication and POP the right to make regulations which are made and signed with statutory instruments.
But not to commit a
But
crime
it
as stealing
does
our money,
not-
sir. There's a major difference there.
Have me a second, let me explain it to you. While it gives them that power to do that, they cannot use it to interpret or to mislead the people into acquisition by BTL, as he was doing with SI 74. SI 74 was passed and he wanted to use it as a mandate, mandatory vaccination, when in reality that was not a part of the SI and it would have been unconstitutional anyway. So with that said, I go to you, Mr. Morrison, to pick up on the topic.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening again. You know, we stand at pretty much the same quarters on things, trying to figure out what is constitutional and what legality they have in trying to make this rules somehow palatable. And I think personally, I'm not against the acquisition. I'm against the transparency and the fact that we do not know what the value of the asset is, and are we spending the public funds, whether it be the people of Belize through the government, or whether it is the social security funds, whether we are spending those funds correctly in acquiring this asset. That's my big concern. I have no issue with the acquisition. As I said, I see some advantages if it is a warranted acquisition at a just fair price, that somehow the consolidation could bring about some savings and some benefits to the country and the people. So I don't have a problem with that. I'm hoping that we would focus, and that the people of Belize would focus on the true issue, especially if they're not able to stop this in the tracks that it is going in right now, and ask for the disclosure and ask for the books of these companies, so that we can in fact address this properly in terms of whether or not the cost that they're asking for it is justified. That's where I have problem with this whole deal.
That's what should be done up front, not after the fact, when they got the money and we can't get it back.
Well, yeah, of course, that's what I'm saying now. That's what they need to do now. before this deal proceed is to
Due
find
diligence.
out what the valuation is of this and make it a public disclosure and let us know what assets are being considered. We don't know um, if the buildings that are currently operated under smarts are going to be part of the transfer. We don't. Sometimes you buy assets and then the building is owned by a total different entity and it's rented. And so when you get a sale, those are exclusion in the sale.
That's part of
And
due
so
diligence.
and so yes, and so we don't know what assets are part of this sales. We don't know. We don't have any other evaluation to see if the asking price is justified. We don't know what equipment they operate right now and which equipment are obsolete or due for near obsolescence. And we keep talking about Starlink and all those options, and the Prime Minister himself mentioned this. And
That's what
he,
they're running from.
yeah, and he
That's what
said
they're
he
running
says
from.
that,
But they want us to be the one to provide the dime. Bunch of
and he says
selfish thieves.
and he says that the issue is that they will need to replace these, but buying these obsolete assets and such is not going to help BTL in any way. The issue of the changing technology is still going to be there and it's still going to be an issue for the people. So if we just saddle BTL with it and take it off his books and put it on the books of the public, then that's an injustice and a disservice to the people, and we need to make sure that that is addressed before this sale is carried through.
That's how these mobsters operate, Mr.
Mr.
Morrison. They
Mr.
have had that
Chairman,
trajectory over and over and over.
Thank you,
Sorry.
Mr.
Mr.
Morrison.
Chairman, one question quickly. Give me a minute there, Mr. Chairman, please. And Mr. Morrison, don't you think that, and Leonard, don't you think that, you're selling something, don't you think that they should have done the due diligence and operate and itemize, appraise? So, the public, this is what, you see this little phone here, it costs so much. You see this little earpiece here, it costs so much. You see Briseño, it costs so much. You see Iberta, it costs so much. You see this one, I'm itemize this thing and show it to the Belizean people and see if it's worth it. It's called an appraising, right? But you don't hear none of that, Mr. Morrison. You don't hear nothing like that. They gone in, this entity went in and they did our appraising. They itemized all the item, the this and the this and the that and the fork and the spoon and this that. It worth it, my people. It worth it. Say Ashcroft will get amount, Briseño get amount, and things like can't say it worth it. But we don't see none of that, Mr. Morrison and Mr. Chairman. Don't you think that's a
Chairman,
right there for
I
them?
will
the board,
tell you
Mr. Chairman,
why,
Mr.
Mr.
Chairman,
Will.
Mr. Chairman, the board chairman told us that it was none of our business. They had already sat and decided what they was going to do under the guise that it's a
Let
public-private.
me
They were
let
trying to
me set
connive
the
us.
record straight tonight,
Bunch
okay?
of thieves.
Because majority of Belizean, especially or elder folks like I am, does not know about technology as some of us do. So let me say it in layman terms so they can understand. Okay? We have BPOs, right? Let's say, for example, Mr. Morrison, Mr. Wade, you guys have your own personal BPOs that is competition to me and my cousin company. Okay? Now, our company is way above yours, right? You and Mr. Wade company is running on some laptops with Windows 10, while me and my cousin company is running on some laptops with Windows 11. No, you want to sell me your company. Both of you want to sell us your company. I would abstain. You know why? Windows 10
It's not
has
compatible.
become Windows 10 has become obsolete. It
It's not
cannot
compatible.
run Windows 11. So how will it be profitable to us? It's the same scenario. You cannot run Windows 11 on an older laptop if it does not meet the requirements from Microsoft, which is
But
the security feature and the 2.0 TPM. So
Mr.
that
Chairman,
is
oh
what
sorry,
is
sorry.
happening in reality. They say they will buy it because it will help them. It will not. How can it help you?
You're lying to
The
us.
only help you can get is to take the 80 million, invest it in Starlink, and start modernizing. So when other companies come and are what you call a part of Starlink, you have competition still. Because this is what I would do. If we share Starlink, why buy SpeedNet and NextGen?
That
In our
that
reality, we know how business goes.
They have the
Anybody
powers to
that
swing
goes
the deal,
into
Mr. Chairman.
business, if you can't stay with it and don't have the finance, you have to close your door.
But we
And
have a
once your
problem.
door is closed, anyone could come along and buy it for $1 too. So
But we
why
have,
buy it for that price when it
Mi-
will not serve the purpose?
Mr.
This
Mr.
Chairman,
is
Mr.
why
also,
Chairman,
Mr.
we
Mr.
Chairman,
need
Chairman,
to
I'm
get
I'm
it
asking for a
across.
chance. I've
if I
asked for
may,
a chance
Mr.
for a
Chairman,
while.
and also remember, Next Gen was a part of this deal too, you know. Next Gen was a
It might
part
still
of
be
this
a
deal too,
part,
you
but they
know.
are not saying it
All right.
because the figures has not closed. But I
But Mr.
want to
Chairman,
show
I
you
was
guys.
asking for a chance just now. Look, I get any chance, please. On the points that we were talking about. The Prime Minister is the mover and shaker of getting this deal done. And people in his office are now taking up the slack and the momentum to try and force this process through, putting additional pressures on the board members. There are board members who could see the daylight and who would not necessarily go along with this process, but they are being pressured to go along with it. And the bottom line is that they want this deal done, come hell or high water. Why? Because they want to cash out up front. They don't care nothing about Starlink or about what position BTL will be left in and or whether or not BTL will be able to finish pay them. Because I'm telling you, they're supposed to be paid out of the profits that BTL made last year, will make this year, and will make the next 4 years. Okay? And if that profit is not there, how are we going to pay for what we have acquired and still be able to update or upgrade? They don't care.
Okay, okay, Mr. Brackett. I want to show the people at home and abroad how these people work. What they do is when they are not in power, they relate to the people.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they get in power,
To hell with the
they
people.
turn vice versa. And I want to go back to a tape and you will hear exactly what an
So,
employee that
Mr.
worked
Mr.
under
Mr.
Mr.
Chairman,
Legaragua.
can I say one more thing before you go to your tape, sir? In relation
You are
to just
using my time, Mr.
I know,
Brackett.
just one more thing. I'll try and make it short. These people don't care about what the outcome because social security money, if we see money where we have to pay in, where everybody in the country they pay, okay, that they are trying to dip into. Social security have money invested in BTL, as you know, and other people have money invested in BTL. What they are trying to do is cash out up front. They don't care. If they wanted to sell their stuff, they could have sold it for maybe half the price if they really just want to get rid of it. If they don't want to put it, because presently they have to put money into their thing to survive, even if they don't sell to BTL. They have to put some money to upgrade. They don't want to invest anymore. They just want to take out what's available, and they are trying to take out more than what the thing is worth.
I think, Mr. Brackett, you have a concept, but it's beyond that. Let me tell you what it is, right? When BTL got nationalized, right? Before it did, right? Smart was piggybacking on BTL. Smart was owned by Britannians and Ashcroft. When BTL got nationalized, they decided they would cut them off. So what happened? They had to go and install their own towers and put all that money into it
Before,
to try
Mr.
to compete.
Mr. Chairman, before
Let
that,
me finish. Let
yes,
me
but
finish.
before that, so you miss out
Let
on
me
part.
finish,
You miss out
sir.
on part.
Let me finish.
Go
I'm
ahead.
just giving an example. So because Mr. Ashcroft was hindered from the nationalization, he wants to collect again. He wants to sell smart, but he wants them to pay them for the towers. All that he had to do when they nationalized it. That is what I think is happening. But let me go to the tape because it's important to hear how these people tell on themselves.
When I was the president of BCWU, he had a meeting in our office against then the United Democratic Party's government and was telling us that all these same things that we are demanding, including severance, was due to us. So you all need to get it. And yes, it was good. And now he is in the place where he can make it happen. And he's telling us crap that there are people who are qualified. What makes him be the one to determine who are qualified for the severance? So, saying that nicely, I think conflict and interest. He need to.
Are you all calling for his resignation?
Oh, long time. He should have done that before he started.
So as I said, the same thing they were doing when they were not in power. But to be honest, people at home and abroad, it amazed me how the lead senator for business, for the people, is silent on what is happening.
Enabler. He's an enabler.
And I'm saying this specifically because he was an outspoken individual for the present government when the UDP was in power. And this is what he had to say.
I want to respond specifically to the question of a conflict of interest. The People's United Party and I maintain that we will do any and everything to protect the reserves of Belize. There is no change from that and there is no conflict with that. I have a right to go to the court to challenge any piece of legislation that affects me. And you will recall, Daniel, that immediately after the Senate meeting, the Attorney General was interviewed and he said he expected the law to be challenged and that people have a right to challenge it constitutionally. No. Who has a conflict of interest? I am saying to the media and to the public of Belize, the Prime Minister of this country is to declare to the people of Belize whether or not his law firm is a shareholder in Mr. Ashcroft's company. I repeat, is the Prime Minister's law firm a shareholder in Mr. Ashcroft's company? We need an answer to that.
Then how come he's not asking the present Prime Minister, in which he was a part of the opposition at that time? And that comment was to Mr. Barrow.
Mr. Chairman, that same gentleman there just now was made a senator, worked as the lead Senate for government business, worked as a minister of foreign affairs, worked as a minister of immigration, worked as a minister in many other. The man was a super portfolio holder on behalf of the government. And I explained last week when last Friday's show that the man was only put there to look over Mr. Bishenyo's shoulder until Mr. Bishenyo gathered enough money to pay off Mr. Ashcroft the money when Mr. Ashcroft owed, where the government had owed Mr. Ashcroft. And Mr. Ashcroft never paid. This same gentleman here that's running off him out talking stupidness like he's so eloquent. Of course he's eloquent. I shouldn't even say it like that, because he is eloquent. But he's a hired gun. When he was talking about other people and the Prime Minister, he never explained to nobody why he was in cabinet. He never explained why he was being made a senator. He never explained that he was collecting money from Mr. Ashcroft. And when Mr. Ashcroft got his money from the Prime Minister, when the Prime Minister finally made those big payments to him, hundreds of millions of dollars, that Mr. Ashcroft hadn't paid him all of his Mr. Ashcroft had not paid him all of his money.
Mr. Brackett,
he was hoping to get his money.
Mr. Brackett, you need to rephrase how you speaking.
No, I'm speaking what I know, sir. I know the gentleman was working for Mr. Ashcroft before the PUP didn't win. He is the one that signed on backdated. I couldn't go further and tell you. He backdated some damn document that got us into that $20 million craziness with Mr. I have the history, I have the documents, I investigate these guys. So when I open up my mouth and I say things that the general public doesn't know, it doesn't mean that I'm just talking out of the top of my head. I'm not that stupid, because I can be sued. Okay? So when I open my mouth and I say things that people are not aware of and it sounds too heavy, it's not because I want to be gratuitous. It's because I'm pissed off at the man for talking craziness, when in fact, if the people were to know how he was operating behind the scene, that's why he resigned from cabinet when Mr. Ashcroft received the money, when Mr. Bishenyo made all those big payments. He didn't have no need to be sitting around taking no licks on behalf of the government anymore. That's why he moved on. But then Bishenyo decided he wanted to keep the man because the man was a good spokesperson, a top lawyer in the community, and he was handling the government business in the Senate quite effectively. That's the history behind what had happened. People saw and heard what happened, but they don't know, even as of today yet. Not too many people knew what was happening behind the scenes. I just said some of it.
While I am not disagreeing with what you said, I ask you to rephrase point blank.
I will.
Because I don't want you to be caught up in monetary sums that you have no receipt and no proof of.
Mr. Chairman, I'd ask you to take that one back, because you are stipulating what I have and don't have. And I just told you, as if you had not heard what I said. I opened my mouth and I spoke to a fact that I can back up. But I'll leave it at that, and I'll go and do what you had asked me to do just now, which is for your comfort, because you don't know what I'm talking about, or the background of what I'm talking about. You don't have the evidence. You want to make sure that I'm not saying something that will reflect negatively on all of us. And I need to clarify that. I need to clarify that. What I'm saying,
I'm on a talk show, and I ask for privilege. If you have that, sir, you can discuss that in private or somewhere else. But while I'm sitting here, I will ask you to please, Mr. Morrison.
You know, I keep wondering where this will all end. We have the insistence of the government. We had the cable companies that backed out, but it seems that the Briceño family is intent in pushing the consolidation and the buyout of Smart and the other company. And I'm hoping that this, I know the opposition is challenging is challenged, and that they're going to be having some type of rally, and I'm hoping that they can, that sufficient amount of people, whether they are part of the opposition or not, but has concern about this issue, will act in a way that would signal to the government that they need to reconsider their approach on this buyout and to provide full disclosure so that the people can see what's going on and they can do the buy-in. Because I, for one, would definitely be on a buy-in if there was disclosure and if we could ascertain in some way, and the only way is through uh, uh, declaration of the books and confirmation of the asset by some independent source, and have some proper valuation and some proper and correct negotiation on what a fair price would be for Smart and the other company. And so until we have that, we need to just say that this should not be a deal. And we need that the government will address this not only in cabinet, but in the House of Representatives. And while the PUC can make certain changes to the and actually it's the government that needs to write the final SI, but the PUP can draft it and give it to the government so that they can review and approve it in the House, because that's how an SI becomes effective. So the PUC can write it, but the government has to then put it to the House of Representatives and have it voted on to become effective. So I'm hoping that they will address these issues and be upfront with the people. But it seems to me that they do not intend to have proper and full disclosure. And the only way we can make sure they do it is by resistance. I think the UDP or the opposition has been late on the stop, but they're probably finally organizing themselves to do what is necessary. Rather than meeting with Ashcroft, they should have said no and dealt with this 2 weeks ago. It would have given them much more confidence from the public that they're in fact having the interests of the people in the first instance. But they're stepping up to it now, and I hope that there will be sufficient people responding in presence, that the government does take a reflection on this issue and approach it as it should be, as a public matter that needs full disclosure.
Thank you, Mr. Morrison. Mr. Wade.
No, I am along that line too, Mr. Morrison. You know, I think that the opposition, for what they are, are not doing service to the people, and they fail to realize that they're paid opposition. And what is the duty of opposition, right? They know what they should have been doing. In like in many other issues, they wait until other entities, put it on the table and dissect it in all different kind of way. Then afterwards, they come and say, oh yeah, well, I think I will support that, and I think this and I think that, and when they should have been, there in Briseño's face in the house, and actually addressing these issues, these important issues, national issues. So I'm with you on that. And I just, like I said, I just hope and pray that, Mr. Chairman and Leonard and Mr. Morrison, that, in the coming days, that this government gets some pressure, some serious pressure from the public, and for them to desist from their evil ways, right? And the way that they are going right now, they must cease and desist. And I just hope and pray that they had heard and they do the right thing and come to the nation, come public and say, this whole matter here is null and void. We are not going to proceed, you know, with it anymore because of X, Y, and Z, and come to the Belizean people, Mr. Chairman and Mr. Morrison. I'm with you. That they need to, step up to the plate and let the people know really what's really going on, and we need the public pressure to, help deter
Thank
them.
you, Mr. Wade. Let me express to you guys and the people at home and abroad how it should be done. As is right now, we know what their intention are and what they want to do with the SI, but it cannot be channeled for judicial review until it is inactive. In other words, you cannot go and file an injunction at this moment. You cannot seek judicial review because they have not done it yet. But when they go and they do their vote and say, this is it, then as you guys file for redistricting, then it can be challenged. And you know what will happen? They will lose again because it will be unconstitutional. I go to you, Mr.
My
Brackett.
turn. Yeah. First of all, the present government trying to pull this wool over our face and our head is not ignorant of the fact that due diligence should have been done. What they consider to have been due diligence is that the board would have been called to attention and make a decision, and they would have been given the support to go ahead. And most people are not accepting the reality that the board was compromised in the first place. You cannot stop a board from doing what they're doing behind closed doors, unless somebody come out as the lady that had walked away from the meetings and decided. What's her name again? I'm trying to remember her name.
Casino.
Right? Has she not came out and told us what the hell was going on behind the board, or behind the walls and inside of that board meeting? The deal would have been done, sealed, and over with, and there was no possibility that the public would have been able to reverse that, because it would have been a signed and delivered deal acquiesced by the government on behalf of the people.
Mr. Brackett.
Just a minute,
Mr. Brackett, I just want to clarify what you are forgetting.
Go ahead.
This deal was exposed by Channel 7, but don't forget they were trying to pass this like the airport contract.
Mr.
If
Chairman,
it wasn't for the plane guy, go ahead, sir.
You're stepping on my toes, man. You take up the time, like you said. I'm saying the same thing that you're saying. We're both saying the same thing, but I'm trying to say it in my own words, okay? Because what I say, I'm accountable for. And I wanted to say that earlier when you had asked me to exculpate the rest of the panel and to make sure that I'm not speaking on behalf of all the panel, and the impression will be left that we on Belizean Affairs Show are of the mindset that one member was. Okay, so I wanted was to apologize on that part and to clarify that point, that when I speak, I'm speaking for myself. I'm not speaking for the whole panel. I'm interacting with the panel, but I'm not putting words in nobody's mouth, nor am I accepting nobody's word in my mouth. Because on the panel, we are independently allowed to have our own individual thoughts, ideas, and conclusions. That's how we operate on our particular show. And I don't want to be left out there, for it to be left out there, that when I make a statement about something that maybe other panel members don't know or don't want to address, that I'm speaking on their behalf, because that is not the case. But back to the point. Thank you very much. The point is that these jackals are hell-bent in taking advantage of us by a sleight of hand. First of all, they had this thing cooked up. They didn't do their, well, I shouldn't say they didn't, because for all you know, they probably had done their due diligence, and we are arguing here about they should have done this and should have done that. They probably had done it all and had concluded that it was in their interest to go ahead and do this deal as well. But they have not provided to us. The bottom line is that not having provided that information to the public when they deal with public money and public affairs and public assets is a travesty, especially since the chairman of the board go speak to us in public and say that it was a private stuff and they were about to do what they're doing in private and it's no concern of anybody else. They're starting off on the wrong foot and they're trying to chisel us into accepting something that even cabinet would have accepted. Okay, everybody was along with it, but the people whose social security money was invested in it don't have a say because the people who are supposed to represent them are not directing on their behalf. They're directing at the command of the people that appoint them to the office. I have more to say, Mr. Chairman, but I don't want to belabor the point tonight. I know you have other things to do with the rest of the show, and we're running out of time.
Thank you. I want to make this clarification. I believe, Mr. Brackett, based on what I said to you, I just want to stick to here and Belizean affairs with show and tell. Now let me say what I was about to say. I believe if this deal go down and it does not go the right way and we go back to monopoly like Mr. Fraser had fight for, I would hate to be the individual sitting on those boards because I wouldn't want to be the one having to walk and be looking over my shoulder for something that I know is wrong and complicit myself to. So I hope those individuals who is sitting on those boards and those boards take a strong timeout and reconsider their position when it comes to this deal. Now, I want to move on to what happened in the Joseph Budner's case. When we last had a conversation about it, we were left with where Mr. Courtney wanted them to throw out the case, to stop the case. And this is what Mr. Saldiva had to say.
This is a civil matter. The burden of proof is not, the standard of proof is not beyond a reasonable doubt. The standard of proof is upon the preponderance of the evidence, the balance of probabilities. Now you have Labriel, the corporal Labriel. This is not a private, this is not a constable, this is not a special constable, this is a corporal. A corporal is at a substation. The only point of exit or entry to Arenal. He is the guardian of the gate. And he opens the gate during the commission of a crime. Who, after doing what he could to stop the crime from taking place. So who? Pray tell.
No one said minister. They said boss. I mean, you call lots of people boss.
That is true. That is true. That is true. So in that aspect, maybe he might not be the Kareem, but what we can say after the video came out and nothing has been done, no request was made for, well, let me not say that, but at least we don't know, we haven't seen the unaltered footage. And that's the least
probability that we'll see that seems dim now.
No, not really, because again, this is the reason why I'm saying that the application to strike out is premature. In the normal course of a trial, once case management orders are made, there is a requirement for disclosure. Okay? We haven't even reached that stage. We haven't reached the stage of witness statements.
I want to say this, gentlemen, and people at home and abroad. Mr. Courtney wanted a strikeout because he claims that Mr. Budna should sue the state and not Karim Musa. I want to correct that. Mr. Budna can sue Karim or any other commissioner that is involved, and the reason why he was the head of police, he was to keep these policemen lawfully intact. They answer to him and they step out of bounds. So, likewise, he can be sued. You remember the good old law enterprise? But not to use my words, I want to hear what he has to say before I go to you, gentlemen. Just to show you the reverse psychology. And Mr. Brackett, you are part of this.
There is an issue for my clients. My clients don't know that that is going to be the result. And my clients have a right to go to the House of Representatives. My clients have a right that the law be obeyed. And my clients have a right to a hearing in court. And you cannot sacrifice that on the altar of expediency and say, don't worry about it, man, just go through and take a lick. No, we live in a country where we have a constitution. We live in a country that has a court. We live in a country where we have rights, Marlene. The end cannot.
I want to stop it right here. Do you believe that he's saying that? Based on what he said, he wanted a strikeout?
He's a liar, sir.
I go to you first, Mr. Morrison.
I do believe that the there is a right of Mr. Budna to sue the government and to put as respondent those individuals that we believe had some chain responsibility. For certain, the minister, definitely the controller of police, commissioner of police, and those individuals. I also believe that the people that were responsible for those videos that went missing should have also been part of the people that needed that needed to respond to the case. So while there is that requirement to have Mr. Budna present a case, I believe that probably just bringing the case against those individuals by Mr. Saldiva, it seems a little short to me. It seems like it was not as comprehensive as it needed to address what was going on. Because while I don't necessarily believe that this action was actually initiated by as a government sanctioned event, it certainly is playing out that some high ranking government officials had involvement. And what we have seen, or what I have seen, is that for sure the Prime Minister and other ministers are providing cover for the illegal action of kidnapping and removing Mr. Budna from Belize. And so the role they're playing is to frustrate and to block and to sabotage and to deflect and to just keep keep this issue as dead as they possibly can and hope that, as we say, it blows over in a little breeze. Well, I know it's well over 28 days, and it doesn't seem like this breeze has have lessened. It seemed to be just as intense, and I'm hoping that there will be some justice from it. So I don't know if the court has in fact dismissed the case, but I hope they have not. And I hope that Mr. Saldiva and Mr. Budna will frame it in a manner so that the court can, in fact, so that it will have standing and the court can proceed with taking it to trial.
Thank you, Mr. Morrison. I want to answer that for you this way. He wanted a strikeout for lack of evidence. I will tell you why he will not get it, and I will tell you why Mr. Budna will win the civil suit. He wanted evidence. Here it is, sir.
Good, moving on.
So let's talk a little bit about the vehicle that abducted Budna. It's been revealed.
Yes, so Joseph Budna in his archives, and Victor, we have footage of this vehicle. This is reportedly the vehicle and the license plate that abducted Joseph Budna. He captured this when they were trailing him as early as July, right? That license plate links to somewhere in Spanish Lookout area, I'm told. I know the name as well. We have to look more into it, but I have done the work to find the name. And it's linked to, I believe it's a rental vehicle. I believe it's a rental vehicle and somebody rented it. So it's as we've been reporting, and as police have not reported, this is footage that Budna captured back in July when they were first trailing him. And it's a 2013 Chevrolet, or a GMC, I'm sorry. But my point is that the police have never put out any information about this. So I'm hoping.
There is your evidence, Mr. Morrison. How can they get away from it now? This case.
I didn't say they were going to get away from it.
No. Let me rephrase that for you. You know what this has just done? You have a vehicle, you have a license plate. Who on it? Who was driving it? You remember the file the DPP get?
Less than nothing, she said.
Well, you know what will happen with this new evidence? If the owner, the rental plate, does not come forward, because right now they are complicit, because they know what happened, and they know that vehicle was used.
But we're going into all kind of circles to we have the tape. The tape exists in government archive, or it should, of much of what happened.
Right.
So
you have the tape
so
that
we know who the individuals are en masse. We know who the individuals are.
You have the tape the government don't want to put out there.
Okay.
But and now you have the vehicle with the license plate. What do you think the public will do? They will find who own it.
Well, they said it's a rental vehicle. They said it's a rental vehicle.
That's a dumb move by the police department. That is though you are putting out a gangbanger out there and naming name to get executed.
Well, Mr.
Wade.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have beat this horse many times, and where we're at right now, where we're at as we speak now, you see the another side of Mr. Courtney. Nothing strange in what he's doing. Nothing strange. So my whole take on all that, I wonder who is the judge that is, sitting on his case. I say his case. Let's see how that is going to play out with all the publicity with all the publicity with evidence. And this man is talking about evidence, right? And then you have Mr. Saliva there talking about waiting for disclosure. And there is the way they do things. So let's see what's going to be in the disclosure, and let's see how he is going to handle that when he do not get what he is supposed to get. That's another scenario. So let's see how that will play out. So that's where we're at right now, Mr. Chairman. And this guy, Courtney, no surprise me in the way he came and talking about
Mr. Wade,
evidence,
let
right?
me say this to you, Mr. Wade, for clarity. When it is time for disclosure and Mr. Saldiva's subpoena, the former Minister of Police said there were two cases. The assistant, I think, Mr. Bart Jones, said he placed Mr. Flowers and Mr. Dixon because he was identified. So tell me, when the subpoena goes out, are these people going to say, well, I never put him on interdiction?
This man should be ashamed of himself there, Mr. Chairman. I put it this way. I think Mr. Courtney should be ashamed of himself to be a learned and intelligent man to say such a thing.
I go to you,
no
Mr. Brackett.
Thank you very much, sir.
3 minutes, sir.
The issue that we're passing or glazing over is one of understanding the process, procedures, and protocols of how the court operates. And all that Mr. Courtney is doing as a good lawyer, by the way, which he is playing strategic court process, procedures, and protocols, and about trying to divert attention from the main focus of even having the case to be heard in the first place. That's his present agenda. All of us are talking about subpoenaing this and getting that, and we're talking about miles down the road, like Mr. Saliva said. This thing just the begin. And Mr. Courtney is trying to get this thing stuck out in its beginning stage.
He look for any, Leonard, he look for any right now.
Exactly. It's a strategy. Any good lawyer would make that attempt, especially if they don't have a defense, a true defense for their client. It's for them to come up with all these kind of side deals and, but of course you got to know how the process, procedures, and protocols work. And then you take advantage of those and you're within the bounds of the law. That is to say, he can then claim that if the judge can entertain his idea about striking out the case, then that there was no case in the first place because no case is there to be answered by his client because it's been struck out. He's not going to say that his client, he's not going to intimate that the crime hadn't been committed. His job is to exculpate his client and to use the mechanisms of the system and the process to achieve that objective, one way or another. So if we start where they are today, with him asking the judge to strike out the stuff, he's trying to play hanky-panky with the judge and hope that the judge will fall for his shenanigans. Some judges do, by the way, especially compromised ones, as we have noticed in the past. We have got that as a history in our country as of recently. It never used to be like that before, but recently we have seen enough subordination of court cases where judges rule contrary to law and rule without any basis, contravening in the very stare decisis or established law, and not even entertaining constitutional cases. Kick the case out because they want to, and then declare the case as having an estoppel, or in other words, they can't. There's no reason why the case should continue, or anybody can even bring back the case again. It's a trick. There are games, there are things that people play out. But the bottom line is that Mr. Courtney knows he's being high-handed, and why? Because the government expect that they have one bag full of money that they could spend to hire these top lawyers to play games with the system, whereas they don't expect that Mr. Budna have no money to pay Mr. Saldiva and any other lawyers to sustain the process. So they expect to get or to beat them down, just like what happened. Remember, Mr. Weird, when your case had started, and even before your case, when the other guys were doing their case, I was telling you all from the very beginning how that case was going to be handled and how it was going to end up. Was I wrong? Was I not proven to be 100% correct in my initial assessment? Because so long as you know the process, procedures, and protocols, you know what to expect. And if you know you're to deal with a shyster liar, you know, and especially if they are good, like I said, the man is good at what he does. You can't take that away from him. But he can only be as good as the judge allow him to be. That is, that the judge fall prey to stuff that the judge should not do. And only a compromised judge, as we found out after the fact, in his own words, and on tape, and in what you call it? The man he told on his own self, he lied on his own self, understand in the case that he was handling, to the point right now where they're trying to protect him because there's a request for him to be sanctioned. And even the head of the Supreme Court right now is kind of like trying to let the thing die a natural death by not addressing it. Okay? So our system is messed up. It's not the way it's supposed to be, and anything could play.
Mr.
Thank you,
Chairman,
Mr. Rocky.
I'll say this for the end there. I just hope and pray that it's not the same judge that we're talking about that is handling this case. I just hope and pray.
I want to
I may
say
be
this
wrong,
with,
right?
I want to say this before I go back to you. In this case, I'm with Mr. Musa. Mr. Musa is on national TV specifying there was two tapes. Yet when he was asked, he said he never seen them. But he is the Minister of Police. So who was stopping you as Minister of the Police from seeing those tapes? He will have to answer to that. Mr. Wade, I go to you for the closing. Before I do, I want to go to you, Mr. Morrison, for a 3-minute comment.
I kind of hope that somehow we will reach some conclusion on this in terms of court with regards to the Budna matter, because it is very important for the safety, welfare, and for the constitutional and civil rights of every Belizean. Some people, because of how they view Mr. Budna and because of some of the egregious crime he has committed, both in Belize and in Guatemala, would want to look the other way and deny him his civil rights. But, civil rights and justice doesn't work in that frame. It has to be consistent. And so when we are protecting the rights of a criminal, we're also protecting the rights of a person that is innocent and that is just and is a proper citizen of the country. Because they all get entangled when you start violating rights, because it becomes a slippery slope of how government feel and then learn and then start behaving. And sometimes it's not even the same governments. It could be another government, but they see that, oh, this slides, this went under the radar, the courts bowed its head, the police department looked the other way. In fact, they participated in carrying out the illegal activity, and it just destroys the entire fabric of the society and the laws that is set in place to protect all of us. So I'm hoping that somehow we will come to recognize that there's a responsibility. And I don't see it happening so much with the government party, the present government, because they have all closed ranks on it, and they all gives us a kind of feeble response and treats the public as we are ignorant. And the prime minister described him as a despicable criminal, and and all that, but it doesn't mean that he's not entitled to the rights and to the protections of laws of this country. And so that's what each and every Belizean needs to enforce in this case. And it's not about Joseph Budner. It is definitely not about him. He's just the actor in the case. But the main issue is about all of us, the rights of all of us.
Thank you, Mr. Morrison. Well said. Mr. Reed, I go to you for a
Thank
closing.
you. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for show and tell again. Thank you for a wonderful program. Leonard, it's always a pleasure sitting in your company.
You're welcome,
And
sir.
Mr. Morrison, thank you for gracing us again, with your presence here tonight on our Belizean Affairs show number 392. Thank you. I hope that our program tonight, sheds some light, more light, and beneficiary to our Belizean people, both at home and abroad. And thanks for the public who support us, share our program, and say good night.
Good
Mr.
night,
Chairman,
gentlemen.
thank you for my show.